So today we have sunshine, heavy rain, some close encounters, and lots of mud, as well as some panting up a hill. Now today's cycle is around some of the more scenic parts of Leicestershire, which makes for a bit more of a tougher ride. As you can see, the strain on that very first hill. Now it's a glorious day, and that has to be taken advantage of, even when the weather is scheduled to turn a little bit sour later on. Got a couple of new additions this week. I've added a cadence and a speed monitor to my bike. Now, cadence is not something I've ever actually thought about, but I saw a cheap monitor online that links in with my Garmin watch, so I thought, hey, why not give it a go? Cadence, if you're not aware, is basically the number of revolutions your pedal makes per minute. So high revolutions make it more of a cardio-intensive workout, whereas lower revolutions make it a more of a muscle-intensive, less cardio. Now, most professionals have a very high cadence, and I have no idea what mine is, so I thought it'd be interesting to see what it is and see if I can improve it. Now, we're just heading past Groby here, or Grobby, as most people say, here to our left. Quite a few cyclists out today with the same idea, taking advantage of the lovely weather. And we're heading down now into Newton Linford. Now, Newton Linford is most notable for Bradgate Deer Park. It's well worth a look if you've never been. You'd like to get it up close and personal with some roaming animals, though probably worth being a bit more cautious at this time of year, so we head into mating season. Now we're heading around Cropston Reservoir now. And so there's some really quite nice places to live around Leicestershire. A lot of people always say, why on earth we moved to Leicestershire? But I think it's kind of almost one of the unknown counties where people don't really know very much about it. But some of these backcountry places, really, really nice. And looking at some of these properties on some of these streets back here, I'm sure there are plenty of people with some serious money that do like Leicestershire. Now, I've also invested in some new tyres. I've gone for some Schwalbe. I think that's how it's pronounced. German's never been my strong point. Marathon Plus tyres, and this is their first major outing. Now, they seem to be highly recommended as far as tyres go for long distance rides, as they are got the usual Kevlar kind of stuff, but they do have some pretty industrial treads. So I thought going into autumn, winter, and potentially as a long distance tread for the joggle, they'd probably be worth a whirl. Now we're heading around Switherland Reservoir now. Now normally on standard road tyres you tend to lean into the corner a bit. On treads, however, the grip causes you to think twice about that. First corner I thought I was going to fall off, to be honest, but they do feel far more robust, and you do kind of get used to the fact that you can't lean into the corners quite as tightly as you normally would. And here you can see, here's the benefit of these new tyres. There goes a sensible person on a mountain bike there. Lots of gravel and potholes. Not much worse than some of the B roads that I've been driving this year, to be honest with you. Now this week also marks the third week of sobriety. In a row, that is, not in total. All the withdrawal symptoms that I mentioned last week have gone now. My sleep is now good, I don't have any headaches, and more importantly, I have no more sugar cravings. However, we are heading out to the Picos de Europa in the north of Spain in a couple of days for a week or so. So hiking through those hills, chances of staying alcohol-free will probably be ending. I think they're usually pretty big into a cider around that part of the world as well, so maybe we'll see how that goes. Heading back here onto one of the more main roads. Now at this point, I thought my wife had actually missed a junction. Turns out she was actually concerned about the weather and wanted to head on home. Now I, on the other hand, thought the weather still looked good, so I decided to take the scenic route, which with less traffic is always a winner with me. The hills, however, are a bit of a sod, as you can hear from these awful gear changes, and some of my heavy breathing on these hills, a bit of a giveaway. Has to be said as well though, some of the drivers along this route were not exactly cyclist friendly. We're heading down back into Newton Linford now. And this road up here to the right is actually really nice to cycle, but it can definitely be challenging towards the end of a ride. As you can see with the sweat-soaked face and heavy breathing up this hill. Now around about this point it did look as though the weather was going to turn, but I did have I was convinced that I would actually make it back in time. Now sadly, as you can see from the jacket, that was not the case. The rain started off gently, then the thunder started to roll in, and the downpour commenced. Now at this point, I'd just like to comment on driving in the rain. Now, like most drivers, sometimes cyclists piss me off too. And I appreciate you may not like driving in the rain, but please just take a second to realise you're in a warm, dry, comfortable space and you can see what's going on. The cyclist, on the other hand, who is soaked to the bone, has glasses that are usually completely steamed up and they can barely see. So here is an exact reflection of what it looks like when you're cycling heavily in the rain. I mean, one pothole and that's it. You know, yet people still feel the need to overtake when I'm doing 30 miles an hour downhill in the pouring rain. Anyway, I shall leave that there. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.